You know how kites fly in the direction the wind blows? Well, flags are supposed to do the same. But the flag of the Jagannath temple is a whole different story. It actually flies against the wind, and nobody has figured out why or how that happens. This story is about Jagannath Puri, where it's believed that the real heart of Lord Krishna still beats. The temple holds some secrets that would leave anyone astonished. In every temple, the idols are usually made of metal or stone, but in the Jagannath temple, the idols of God are made of wood. Why is that? Let me explain. When Lord Vishnu took the form of Sri Krishna in Dwapar Yuga, it was his human form. According to the laws of creation, death of this form was also certain. In such a situation, 36 years after the Mahabharata war, Sri Krishna died, but when the Pandavas performed his last rites, Sri Krishna's entire body was immersed in fire, but it was his heart which was still beating. The fire could not burn Brahma's heart. The Pandavas were stunned to see this scene. A voice from the sky said that this is Brahma's heart. Let it float in the sea. The Pandavas floated Sri Krishna's heart in the sea. Back in the days of the Gupta Empire, King Indraduma of Avanti, who was a huge devotee of Vishnu, had a dream where Vishnu told him to take a dip in a river and said he would meet him in the river on a log. After seeing that dream, the very next day, the king went to take a dip. The king went for a swim and spotted a log not too far in the river. Without wasting any time, he swam over to it and brought it back to the palace. Then, he called in some famous carpenters, but none of them could carve a statue from the wood. Days went by, and finally, one carpenter came to the palace and told the king, "I can make the statue, but I have one condition." The king, eager to agree to any terms, asked what the condition was. The carpenter replied, "I need a full 21 days to make this statue. I need some time, and I want no one to talk to me, meet me, or delay any of my work for at least 21 days. The king happily agreed to this condition. The work of making the idol began, and every day there were sounds of the idol being crafted, but gradually, those sounds stopped. The queen of Avanti thought that maybe the artisan had died from hunger and thirst, so she insisted on opening the door to the room where the idol was being made, and the king had to agree to her request. As soon as the door opened, they saw that there was no artisan there at all. There were only 3 idols, Lord Jagannath and his brother Balabhadra. In the idol of Jagannath, they even placed a metal piece, which is none other than the beating heart of Lord Krishna. This isn't just any ordinary human heart. It's clear proof of ancient advanced technology. This heart transmits energy, and we've all heard that stones and metals are good conductors of electricity while wood is a bad conductor. That's why the idols in the Jagannath temple are made of wood. And not just that, every 12 years, a new idol of the Lord is created. They set up a statue and shift God's spirit into it. This is done because the energy transmitting device in that statue, if we talk scientifically, transmits so much energy that the wood gets depleted over time, which is why it needs to be replaced. But the process of replacing it is also really interesting. Every 12 years, there's a day when no one is allowed to enter the temple, and the entire city's electricity is shut off. The main priest of the temple has a blindfold over his eyes and wears big, thick gloves on his hands. In complete darkness, this heart is taken out and then placed into a new idol. The priests who have performed this ceremony in history say they've never actually seen it, but when they hold this thing, which we also call the Braham substance, it feels like they're holding a live rabbit. It's also believed that if someone sees the Braham substance, their death is guaranteed at that moment. That's why no one is allowed to perform this ceremony without blindfolds. There's a flag on top of this temple that goes completely against scientific laws. You know how kites fly in the direction the wind blows? Well, flags are supposed to do the same. But the flag of the Jagannath temple is a whole different story. It actually flies against the wind, and nobody has figured out why or how that happens. There's another interesting thing about this flag. It has to be changed every day. That's why the temple priests climb up 214 feet every day to replace it. They say if the flag isn't changed one day, the temple will be closed for 18 years. Prasad is distributed, and it's made specifically for them. There's some divine play hidden in everything that happens in the Jagannath temple. Every day, prasad is prepared for about 500 people, and sometimes the number of devotees goes into the thousands, but there's never a shortage of prasad for the devotees at Jagannath temple. Prasad is handed out all day long, and it's said that not even a single grain of prasad has ever been less or wasted in this temple. Estimating something like this for humans is really tough, and that's the bottom line. The mystery of distributing prasad never ends. But there's an even bigger mystery about how it's made. They cook prasad by stacking 7 clay pots one on top of the other over a wooden fire. Science and logic say that the prasad in the bottom pot should be the first to cook. But that's not how it works at the Jagannath temple. In those 7 pots, the prasad in the top pot cooks first, then the one below it, and so on, until the prasad in the bottom pot is the last to be ready. Yeah, I know, you're probably confused too. You probably won't believe this, but no one has ever really understood the beauty of this temple. You can't put it into words. Just think about it. How did they build such a massive temple so many years ago without any technology? And get this, the dome of this temple, which stands at 214 feet, has never cast a shadow. Shocking, right? But it's true. The domes of the Jagannath Puri temple never create a shadow at any time of the day. And even our favorite science hasn't figured out why. Mystery doesn't stop there. As we know, some buildings and areas are no-fly zones. There's no permission to fly drones, airplanes, or any man-made flying objects over there. But we can't really stop the birds. It's tough to explain that to them. But if we talk about the Jagannath temple, there's something going on there that maybe the birds know but we don't. Because no drones or airplanes or birds ever fly over that temple. You must have noticed that birds sit on the domes of temples or on tall buildings. But if you go to Jagannath Puri, you'll see that birds don't rest on the roof. At the Jagannath temple, you'll never see any birds sitting on the roof or the domes. What's really puzzling is how these mute birds know not to fly over this temple. All of this sounds super intriguing, right? You've probably heard of the Sudarshan Chakra, which is a weapon of Lord Vishnu that destroys evil. There's a Sudarshan Chakra on top of the Jagannath temple, and no matter which direction you view it from, it will always be facing you. Lord Jagannath, whose name means Lord of the Universe, attracts millions of devotees who come to express their faith and love. Every year, there's the Ratha Yatra of Lord Jagannath in Puri, which is a 9-day festival celebrating Lord Jagannath and the goddess Subhadra and Lord Balabhadra are believed to embark on this journey so that Lord Jagannath can come down to see his people and witness their joys and sorrows over these 9 days. Every year, millions of devotees join this pilgrimage. The mysteries of the Jagannath Puri temple don't end here. There are many more stories that we don't know. For instance, every year, the Lord falls ill for 15 days, and during that time, the temple is closed to devotees. But not many people know why this happens. We hope you enjoyed this video.